This is a video to teach you how to play Mongolian goat rodeo. This is a miniatures game, and I'm going to teach you by reading the rules. And the rules are very short, so it's pretty straightforward. This is a miniature horse racing game that recreates the Afghan game Buzkashi. In English, that would translate goat grabbing. In the real game, players are all mounted. The first player to grab the goat scores a point. The player who gets the goat around the goalpost scores a point. And the player who gets it back to the starting point scores a point. The youngest player goes first, go around the table to the right, place one rider on the table, and then another person places a rider, then another person places a rider, and another one. I've already done this. The blue rider is the youngest rider, so they went there. Yellow went here, green went here, blue went here, yellow went here, green went here, blue went here, yellow went here, green went there. Once all the riders are placed, the youngest player takes the first turn. A turn consists of grabbing the goat, which is this little white thing. The player needs to be next to the goat to grab it. They make up a story about how they get the goat. They pick another player to decide what they have to roll, equal to or higher on two six-sided dice. Most players set the roll at 7 or better. So the first player goes, no one has grabbed the goat yet, I grab it first. Another player sets the roll at 7 or better, they roll to 5. They failed to grab the goat. The player rolls 2d6 per rider. This is for movement. So I'm going to move somebody. I rolled a 2 and a 1, so that's 3. If they move only in the 180-degree arc to their front, they move the total number in inches. So the blue guy here is going to move 3 inches. I move him forward. All right. If they move anywhere behind the 180-degree arc, they only move the higher of the two numbers. So I'll move this guy. And if he moves backwards, he'll not move 7 inches, he'll only move 5 inches. So I'll move him 5 inches. If you're carrying the goat, you also move 1 die rather than both dice. Riders may not move through other riders, but may squeeze through gaps. Move ends by pointing your person in any direction you want. So you're planning on what direction you want to be able to ride easily next turn. So this person would probably point this way so he can ride that way. This person would certainly not point away, but would likely end up pointing this way, which meant he kind of backed his horse out of there. You move every one of your players. But because we have not grabbed the goat, he doesn't have any reason to leave yet. At any time, a player may spend one of their tokens, I'm using these little crystals, and make up any other kind of event. So we have rolls for grabbing the goat, we have rolls for movement, And that's it. There are no other rules in the game. To do anything else, you make something unexpected happen. You throw out the token, you say what happens, you pick another character, they decide what you have to roll, you roll. So say this person throws a token out and says, no, 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 really, you thought I didn't grab the goat, but I grabbed the goat. Somebody says, well, that's a 7 or better roll. They rolled an 8, so he has grabbed the goat. I put it on his rider. All right. You can make anything happen with these tokens. So if you want to fight, you do it with that. If you want an extra turn or extra movement, or you want to add a rule to the game, or anything, you can make it happen with a token. Mind you, another player can jump in and throw down a token and say what you said didn't happen. And they get a roll, and if they succeed, which this roll didn't, they might take away what you just got. Alright, so he's grabbed the goat. It's now their turn. Start off with grabbing the goat. I twist your horse's nose, you drop the goat, and I get it. Another player suggests that that sounds unlikely because twisting a horse's tail is one thing, twisting their nose is quite much harder. So they make the roll 9 or better. But I rolled a 10, so he has grabbed the goat. Now we roll for movement. Let's roll for this guy. He gets to go 2 inches because it's a 1 and a 2. And he moves the higher of the 2 numbers. So we'll move him 2 inches and turn him to face this direction. This guy's going to stay put because he's already in a good blocking position. I'll roll movement for this guy. And it is 6 if I move straight forward, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So we move straight forward and then end up pointing like this. The next player, they're going to have to move before they could try and grab the goat. So this guy is going to move. He moves 12 inches, so he's able easily to get right in front of him and make a play for the goat. I block your way, I punch your horse in the nose, and I grab the goat. It's easier to punch, though not necessarily a good idea. And he grabs a goat, we'll say 7 or better. He failed. Moving the other people. 8 inches. So 8 inches from there is going to be right about here. He'll end up pointing like that. And then this guy, 9 inches. Puts him out here, and he'll point this way. Now, the game will continue like this, carrying the goat out around the goal post and back to the starting point. At the end, if you have any tokens left over, you get to make up basically a lie about all the good things you did in the game. And that will score you extra victory points. So, say this player has the goat, and he gets around, so he scores a point, and he gets all the way back and scores a second point. Technically, he's won the game. But if this guy comes in and makes a really good lie and says, well, I bribed the judges, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tokens left, and he has to roll, say, 8 or better to get extra points. Well, it's 1, so he got 1 extra point. 2 extra points. Nope. 3. Nope. 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 Yep. And last but not least, nope. So he ended up with 4 victory points, even though he didn't actually take possession of the goat at all. Veterans returning from Afghanistan have told me that this game looks a lot like the way Buzkashi looks when it's actually played. You can look on YouTube, there are wonderful videos. But this game is a little wilder because people can throw down a token and say you step on a landmine, or there's a drone attack, or I shoot you, which, by the way, they don't do in Buzkashi games. And that's basically it. It's a real simple game. If you're on YouTube, look up drunk war games, beer and board games, I think it's called. And they did a session of this with the old board game version of Buzkashi. Very fun, worth looking at. But anyway, that is basically the game. Now, I've done it with these wonderful little 54mm figures. You can do it with cardboard counters if you want to, or cowboys and Indians, or any figures you happen to have. It's just a fun, crazy little game that doesn't require much of anything. And if you listened, you learned all the rules. Hope you enjoy it. Have great games.